Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. I am doing my third installment of Astrological Ages. The one that I've been demanded to do today is Libra. And I had thought I was going to bed, but apparently I still need to do this today. So when I did Virgo the other day, I had been inspired to do some research and take notes, and I was like, okay, well, I'll do that for Libra also. Now, Libra is the era chronologically that comes before Virgo. So it would be around 17,000 to 15,000 years ago, and then it will be in about another 9,000 years from now. It's an age where if you go online, you won't really find any information for the astrological age. Everybody wants to start at Leo as if time didn't exist before then. And today we're going to be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot. It's really enormous. Can I get back a little bit with this? Oh, hang on. There we go. Syrian Starseed Tarot. The Mystical Shaman Oracle deck here. And the Wild Unknown Tarot. Delicious. Alright. I am on the floor again because I'm enjoying this more than the table lately. I don't know why. Just gives me somewhere else to be for a change. Got like weird things happening off camera here. Okay. So the general idea is that I want to see what's going on in the last age from history. I want to see what's going to happen in the next age in 9,000 years. And then I want to see what the link or the bridge is between them. And I found that the other day in the Virgo reading that there are some parallels happening, because it's that fractal thing where the whole is repeated in the infinitesimally small. I just can't talk because I'm gonna blame it on Mercury retrograde, because that's what all the cool people are doing it. So the smallest piece is the same as the largest piece, and it just keeps going back around in a bigger iteration of itself as a fractal. So the general idea is that these vast ages where it takes about 26,000 years for the zodiac to go all the way back around from the point of view of the equinox, because the earth wobble, it's called the precessional cycle. That's precession, not procession. So just as an overview, the stuff that I did look up in regards to the age of Libra, I kept hearing in the back of my head, besides shouting at me to do Libra next, was Clovis. But when I looked up Clovis online, it associated them with a time period that would have gone with the Virgo reading. So maybe my guides wanted to say that happened a couple thousand years earlier. So generally we're going to start with looking at the last age, which would have been about 17,000 years ago to 15,000 years ago. We had the older Dryas, where there had been a general melting trend in terms of glaciation, but the older Dryas was a cold spike, and then the younger Dryas, there was like a comet impact and another cold spike. There's also the cave paintings in Lascaux, France, where they have all these beautiful modernistic animals. And if you up on your occult videos, star maps, and interestingly enough, at Lascaux they have those huge bull paintings, and you know, it brings to mind Taurus, either the constellation or the astrological sign, because they are, you know, united, the same thing. We have this idea of the ruler of Taurus being Venus, which is also the current ruler of Libra. And there's also this idea that as time progresses, each sign is going to get their own planet. So it's kind of a toss-up now whether Taurus or Libra is getting theirs changed. Alright, so there's also an idea of that came through of being in a very feminine, creative energy, which is why you would see something like the cave paintings. There would be a lot of intuition, like an expansion of consciousness, this kind of slightly more golden age of human thought before heading into the silvery age of Virgo. Now they say that each Yuga cycle age is only a couple thousand years, but I don't think that's right. I think it could be hundreds of thousands of years or tens of thousands. But we'll just say that in general there's supposed to be a more creative, higher consciousness than the following age of Virgo. We're in a descent of intuition and consciousness, but we still have this beautiful creativity and this natural style of the Lascaux paintings, and this idea of refined culture while dealing with creeping cold. All right, so let's see in general what the guides want to say about the last age of Libra from 17,000-ish to about 15,000 years ago. See what they have to say. Two out of the bag here. The Empress with a nod to the moon here. And the Seven of Wands inverted. So these come out as a pair. So we have this idea of a completion. And almost this bloody kind of color. And I'm getting the idea of lungs here, even though this is upright. It's like the air quality was toxic, and it led to problems with fertility. And here we have this idea of the guard being let down. We're not able to stand up for ourselves in some way. And another thing that I read in terms of the older Dryas period had to do with a huge release of carbon from the Pacific Ocean. And I couldn't really find any more information on that. So that would probably have something to do with the air quality and the trees having to do more work in order to clear the air. I have this idea of the fire that we need to survive is now underground. So that's where you would find people in caves as well. This idea of things coming at us that are stronger than us. Let's see what else comes out. It's like a whole chunk of cards coming out. It's always weird because the camera is in between my arms. I noticed that I said this is weird about 10 times during my last reading, which was alive as well, because I didn't feel like waiting for all the little camera segments to be joined together because it takes several hours. Alright, that one still wants to come out. So the Ace of Cups inverted. So we're in over our heads. Our intuition is failing. Things are quite emotional. And again, with this sort of inverted chalice, I have this idea of toxic infertility. I also find that one of the things that came up when I was trying to do research for the last age of Libra was parthenogenesis. And here we have this idea coming through that I'm picking up on of infertility due to toxins. And that's, I mean, it's actually relevant to what's going on right now. There's something in what we're consuming that's making it harder for the human reproductive system to work properly. The chemicals in the food. So we have the Father of Wands inverted has come out. So we have more inverted wands. So we've gone from 7 to 14 here, because the Father is the King. He's either a 1 or a 14, so we could be kind of straddling this idea right here. And he's paired with the Chariot, which is the other 7. 7 and 7, 14. So here we have, I call this the Shadowfax card. He's got a little bit of earth energy on him. He's intuitive. He's hot to trot. He's got this solar flare going on. He's trying to turn away from it. I'm getting a little bit of horse latitudes here. It's like there's something going on in the Tropic of Capricorn that's causing a lot of movement. Could be like a small impact crater or a solar flare, or again the idea of that carbon release. So it would be all this carbon coming out of the ocean, perhaps at the Tropic of Capricorn, and then clouding over the sun a little bit, making it colder. We need to get to a safe place because our defenses are down. So we have fire, fire. And then we have this spark here with the snake, of this idea of an instantaneous shedding. I'm gonna hold on to that thought for a minute because it's not fully there yet. Let's clarify the Father of Wands. Man, these cards are slipping right out. Okay. What do we got here? The Hierophant. This like raven crow here with the same lightning bolt. So now we, instead of being red and orange in the bottom two chakras, we've got this orange and yellow heading up further into the chakras, and we've gone from this 1 or 14. Okay, so we've gone from 14 into the 1 and 4 combined to the number 5 here. So the key to this concept of miscarriages, shedding from the lower chakras, is this intense radiation that's solar radiation. And let's see what's crossing the Empress. Oh, there's a pair of cards crossing the Empress. The High Priestess, kind of in reverse, with another moon on it, and we've gone from 3 to 2. So we've lost a little bit of our spark. And then we have the 7 of Pentacles. Okay. So we've got a lot of 7s in here. Then even the 5 and the 2 is another 7. So I'm getting... Four 7s is 28. Okay, so that's a moon cycle. Again, having to do with fertility and patience. So I'm getting a couple of different things here. It's like we have to wait out these few weeks of intense activity on the earth, but it's causing a lot of miscarriages and premature babies, and the trauma of the event is reducing the... Let me start this so I don't... My battery's gonna die pretty soon too. The trauma of the event is causing this creative feminine energy to struggle to be connected to her higher consciousness. She's losing some of this sort of primal grounded energy. What else is going on with this time period of the last age of Libra? Is there any information? I'm not taking that because they fell out too easily. Is there any information for what was happening with men during that period? I still don't want those cards all flipped over in a stack. What's going on with everyone else? Okay. So we have the Fool and the Hanged Man in reverse. So we have a 0 and a 12 inverted. And here it looks like a 2 and then a 10. I mean, it could be saying 2 removed from 10, or which would be an 8 or 21. It feels like the world is upside down. I was woken up in the middle of the night by... Or no. No, that's not right. It seemed like darkness. It seemed like nighttime in the middle of the day. And I couldn't tell when I was awake and when I wasn't awake. I can't see where I'm going. And he felt like a spring chicken in terms of what has to happen now. And again, also I feel like this is related to the idea of miscarriages and premature babies, and then this sort of sun energy being interrupted by darkness as well, and people having to take up some sort of new beginning in terms of how they're living their lives. What's going on in terms of culture from the last age of Libra? Plopped out neatly. Why are these all in pairs? So I have 10 here, 10 wands inverted, and then the daughter of wands inverted. I don't know why all these wands are upside down. It's like saying your intuition is completely in the dark. Okay. So we did have the idea of 8 again that was sort of hinted at by the hangman inverted. So I'm getting this idea of weakness. We've overcome this catastrophe, but we're feeling very weak. Things are infinitely more difficult than they were. We're not sure when to harvest foods or when anything will grow, including the people. And I think this idea of being in the dark and not knowing whether it's day or night or what time of year it is after some kind of climate catastrophe or earth-shifting anomaly would make people want to try to see if they could see through the sky to find out what's going on with the stars, because people would have relied on them to know when it was. Is there any other messages for the past age of Libra? I feel like it should have been culturally decent, but it's all about catastrophe. Alright, so we've got another spark here. The 8 of Wands, so we have rapid change with this other idea of 8. And then darkness, but this kind of spark of insight of gotta move, rapid. I don't feel like it's necessarily communication. I feel like it's rapid change. And a jolt to the chakra system. So we have the Son of Swords, which is the Knight inverted. So this is usually my Thunderstruck card here. But he's trying to fly away instead of coming in with information. It's like that Genesis song, Land of Confusion. And this just general idea of like thunder and lightning, of, you know, atmospheric storms. So rapid change, confusion. Again, this background energy of the Hanged Man, not really knowing what's going on. We have Daughter of Cups inverted, so this is the Page of Cups. And we have this chakra energy here, and this sort of young bird again. But now we're in this idea of inverted cups, much like the Ace. So this is like a new beginning. This is like a 1 or 11. So it's this idea of a new beginning. Now in this upside down position, the chakras are in the right order, but the cup is spilling out. It's like a calm after the storm, and you're trying to figure out which way is up intuitively and emotionally. Because it feels like the whole world got turned over. Alright, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. 5 of Wands inverted. So this would have to do with... If it was upright, it would be like battle or immaturity or confusion or something. Also get this idea of like just a bunch of different planes intersecting, like this weird Escher drawing. But in this direction, it's almost just like muscle tissue or things being tossed around, like all the previous conflicts that you had are just kind of thrown to the wayside because of this huge challenge that's being faced. Alright, so I'm going to change my battery, and then I'm going to get into the future age of Libra. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the future age of Libra. Let me just stack these up so they're not in the way as much, because these cards are enormous. So tell me what's happening in the next age of Libra in 9,000 years. And again, this might have like a microcosm idea of what's going on in 9 months from now, or 9 days from now, or 9 weeks from now. Camera's all fucked up. What the hell? These cards are so huge. Tell me about the next age of Libra in 9,000 years. These are so hard to shuffle. Especially when my neck is at a weird position. Let me try it this way. Still can't get my hand. I wish I could shuffle them the long way, but they're a little bit too big for my hands. And I have actually pretty large hands for a lady person. I don't know how people with little bitty, like, girly hands can shuffle these at all. I'll try shuffling it upside down, because sometimes that works better. Just trying to get a card. I just want a card to fall out. I don't know how to... Eventually, I'll get used to this deck enough that I'll be able to figure out how to get something to fall out of it. Maybe like that one. So the 8 of Chalices. I.e. 8 of Cups. Okay, so the next age of Libra. Alright, so this time our cups are upright and we're walking away from what no longer serves us. We're making a change from the thousands of years of held in emotional trauma. And we're climbing over this hill of the past, and we're heading out into like a new sky. Like literally a new sky. Alright, let's see what else is. So now we have the Ace of Orbs, which is the Ace of Swords inverted. So we've code switched from that previous age with the inverted Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Orbs is the Ace of Swords. And here in the upright position, we've got a dolphin with this orb here, and he's downloading some messages about the future. Now here, I feel like he's reflecting on what's happened in the past, which is this stuff here. So I don't see it as negative, I see it as this realization of the truth about the past. So let me aim it this way so it goes that direction. So we're walking away from all that stuff that happened in the last age. We're reflecting on the past and, you know, the true meaning of it. Oh, these are actually really good in focus, just laying flat. So what else? Oh, wow, now they're flipping out. Okay, so the challenge in going over this stuff that happened in the past is balance. This is alchemy. This is a 14. So we're seeing a pattern here. It relates to the last age. It comes back around. So they should be connected because it's Libra. And so we're coming right off the bat with balance here with alchemy, which is usually temperance. We've got, you know, fire and water, and then this sort of background energy of air and earth. And we've got 8 when we had 8s before. We've got an ace where we had an ace before, and then we've got this challenge of coming out into the next age, balancing the energies that we were still working on from the trauma that happened in the last age of Libra. I feel like there was another one that was facing the other way. Maybe it was just a reflection. So we have the Sage of Orbs. This is the Queen of Swords. Okay. It's a mosaic figure here seated on a throne with this sort of pillars like you'd see in the Moon card. Her intuition is going... Now, did she come out upright? Or no, she was upside down. Was she? I think she was upside down. Yeah, well, I'm going to leave her this way. So she's usually a 13 or a 1. And it's this idea of... It's another word. Oh, okay, so it's 13 is death. Sometimes it's called transformation. I'm gonna see what it's called in this deck because I don't remember. I'm just gonna skim through the cards till I find it. It's a little bit different. Oh, was it? No, that's the Hermit. Never mind. I want to find out what it's called in this deck. So I can't remember off the top of my head. Come on. Oh, give me the death card. It's like shuffling plates. I love this deck though, but dude, it's hard to handle now. Where is my death card? I need it. I need it. It. Give me the death card. I can't find it. I need it. Oh, it's called Transition. Okay. Transition. Getting a little David Bowie in the back of my head. Station to station. Aha! Okay. So the Queen of Orbs here being upside down, especially in terms of celestial activity with the precession of the equinoxes, and being a 13, it's describing this increase in clarity as the Libra constellation moves back counterclockwise into its next station in the next age. Station to station. It's not. Okay. Transition. Okay, what else? Okay, so we have the Seeker of Chalices inverted. Or it was kind of at like a cockeyed angle over here, so I guess it'd be like a challenge, because it was kind of over here on this Daughter of Cups, so it's the same card from before. So we're bringing this energy, this Page of Cups energy that was left at the end of the last age of Libra, and we're trying to figure out how to change this energy. We're thinking about intuition and emotions, but we're not in them. So that it remains a challenge brought in from the last trans station of Libra. Ooh, that one tried to pop right out. Alright, what's this one? Okay, so the Three of Chalices is upright. So the 3 and 11 here is that bringing back to that 14 idea of balance, of getting into the thick of a Libra sensation, even though this is kind of cockeyed. And what we have here is people working together to enhance their intuition, to work through their emotions. So if this was relating to what people are doing right now, I would say that you might be going to therapy, or like some kind of a focused group session for similar traumas or something like that. Or you would be going to like a meditative retreat. I don't really see partying. I see people working together to write things that are left over from the last age. It's just this sort of, it's this energy where it's like the rings of an atom, where it's like the last cycle was like here, and then when we get all the way around the precessional cycle, we get more energy, and then it goes whoop, and now we're in the outer ring. What else is happening in the next? Okay. Okay, so we've got 3 chalices, and now we've got 3 upright flames. So the future is so bright you've got to wear shades. So we're looking into the sky here, but the sky isn't dark, it's like dawning. So we're getting intuition for the future. We're fixing the solar plexus is getting worked on. This idea of the moon here, 18, so we're doing shadow work to clear all of the tension that had built up from this solar event in the body and the spirit body. And our intuition is coming back in for the future. We have this strong triangular foundation happening. So we have 3 and 3. That's 6. That's like so if we had 6 cups, that would be that nostalgic feeling, reminiscing about good things in the past, i.e. instead of the traumas. And then if we had 6 flames, we'd have that victory moment, that success, that, you know, partying in the town square. And then with this moon idea, it's like the darkness now has light in it. It's a light at the end of the tunnel. This idea of phases, and again going back to all those 7s of 28 of this cyclical thing. You know, and then we have 3 and 3, and then if we kept going, we'd hit 18 with 6 and 3. What does the moon have to do with Libra? Tell me what the moon has to do with Libra. Oh, man, these cards are so hard to do something with. What does the moon have to do with Libra in the future age of Libra? Unconvincing card popping out. What does the moon have to do with the future age of Libra? Okay, that one slid off, so we'll take this one. Oh, there's 2 of them. They come in pairs. 8 of flames inverted, and 4 of chalices inverted. Okay. So we have this wheel here. We have 8 again, but it's inverted. So we have this idea of like things are happening more slowly. We have time to talk about it. We have time to think about it before we have to speak. There's this sort of portal into the solar plexus. And this idea of the wheel, of the turning of the ages. Now, this 4 of chalices is the 4 of cups card. It's usually the divine hand coming down and the dude sitting under the tree being unhappy with what he's got. Now, this card in the book, it says something like she's looking up at the star and she wants to go home. She doesn't feel like she belongs on this planet. And there's all this water here. Now, inverted, it's like cutting this number in half. We're going from 8 to 4, but it's like a negative card that's inverted. So it's saying we're balanced in our emotions and content with how we feel on the earth right now. We're accepting the energy of the age that we're in and resolving things that we were unhappy with. Alright, so what's going on with the bottom of the deck here? Okay. So we have 15, the shadow. Alright, so this is that nighttime scene with the Sphinx and 2 people kind of selling drugs to each other or something. And then this spider web here. So this is usually the devil, and it's like this whole concept of finding balance in terms of Libra in the next age has to do with completing the shadow work from the imbalance that came at the following from the last age of Libra. Now, the 1 from the 10 and the 5 from the 5 adds up to a 6, which goes back to this here. It's like bookends. And I was thinking these could lead to the Lover's card, which is either a choice or that, peace and harmony, balanced masculine and feminine energy. So we have like very feminine, very masculine here, but it's not really heading there. It's heading instead to 15, the shadow. So what are these dark secrets here? What is this lingering stuff? What is this trauma from the last age that needs to be worked through? And again, I get this idea of this, 28-day cycle here, and then it's like saying, here's the earth, here's the moon. We're looking out into the sky for certain transits to explain where the catastrophe came from. Oops. This is just the magician inverted behind that. Let's look at the back of the deck. I don't really feel like those are relevant to the reading. So we'll just leave that there. So I want to find out, besides obvious things, I was going to say what connects them. But it's more an idea of the last age of Libra basically being, Libra is all about balance. And even though we were achieving a high culture, we were doing it from an over reliance on feminine energy, and the only way to check the balance of that was to disrupt it, but it was done in a way that was traumatic. So in the future, what's happening is clearing of that, and which I think is why most of these feminine cards are inverted. It's like, it's like we're doing this transit thing with truth, but the queen is inverted, and we need to work together with the masculine side. So in like if this was the Lovers, and each was half of your brain, you're working together with both halves of your brain so you can figure out, so you can see the future coming, so your intuition is balanced. So let's see what's the I want to see what the Shaman Oracle has to say about, I was going to say the connector, but I feel like I figured it out, but I want to see what it has to say in general, like what kind of advice, or I had it so well asked in my head a few minutes ago. What is the overall purpose of cycles of Libra in the great processional calendar that need to be addressed instead of just the two examples from these eras? What is it? What is the overall meaning of an age of Libra? What is the point of it? There's one. That one almost came out. I'm gonna... Oh, see, I got two here. I had one fall out and then I moved it and it's two. I don't know if there's like humidity or that's sticking all these cards together, or if the guides are just being sneaky that way. No. Give me the card. Give me the Michigan. I'm not taking half the goddamn deck. I'm not reading 12 goddamn cards at once. It's like, oh. Chubby Kathy. My nose is itchy. Whoa. Alright, I guess I'm taking these ones because they chucked out upright, but in a kind of a challenge position. Alright, so I gotta read these first. So we have the moon again. And this is 37 here. So we have complete cycles dealing with this moon energy. Why is it 18 though? 28. What's the moon? I don't know. So we have the owl. This is a 39. So this is a challenge, but it's coming the other way. So we have the idea of the Empress, the idea of the Hermit, and together they're 12, which would be the Hanged Man. So the challenge is to maintain creativity and using your feminine energy in balance with this deeply reflective energy of the Hermit, which I feel is usually a man. While waiting for downloads to come to you. And we have this orb here, which is whatever planet is ruling Libra, and I guess it could be Venus with that sort of orangey color there. This other challenge is Beauty Way, which is a 4. Now in this deck I kind of feel like this is a combination of the Empress and the Lovers. Sort of Aphrodite's lotus with a dragonfly here. It could also give this sort of background energy of the Emperor as well, this dragonfly. And I feel like it's just sort of reiterating this idea of a balance between this is sort of like having a feminine energy in a male number. It's again this idea of interplay. We have Taming the Wind, 5 and 5. So this is another 10 here. We also have this idea of 5/11s. So being this kind of universal master number, and again it's a challenge. So we have change, we have new beginnings. We have like basically 5 completions. So it's like 5 worlds or 5 zodiac cycles, partnered with change, with faith, and this idea of not being of it's just this idea I get of you can't really tame the wind. You can sort of tame your reaction to it, where you're in a position of going with the flow and being balanced in yourself enough to realize that you're not being tossed around everywhere. I still want to know why the moon keeps popping up so much with this. I get that it's like darkness and fears and stuff, but I really, especially with this card, it has to do with cycles again. I feel like it's trying to tell me that there's a moon that should be ruling Libra instead of Venus, or maybe that Venus is a moon to something else. So what's these other cards that came out? Let's do this one first. The hummingbird. Now, inverted, it's like medicine. This has to do with journeys. We have 2 and 26 here. So that's like the world with a 5 on it. So the world is changing. And 2, which would be the high priestess, and 6, the lovers. So we get an 8 energy. So we're in a weak position here. But the world is changing. And we feel small compared to the journey. But we need to focus on our inner strengths to move forward. The serpent. So this is a completion number here, but it's also in an imbalanced state. So we have 4 and a 6, that's 10. We have the Emperor, we have the Lovers. We also have 4 completions. And like 2 Empresses. Or it would be like 4 worlds and the High Priestess. It's inverted. So look at this idea of Kundalini energy. Okay, so we have the past age of Libra and the next age of Libra. This wing here. I want to get another card and then maybe read from the book for these. I might not like read from the book, but I might skim it to see if there's something important that I've missed, because I feel a little bit like I'm missing something. So we'll take this one. Thunder. So that's 11. It's also in a healing position here. To do again with the chakras, or just this idea of Taurus here. Taurus and Venus, I see. I don't know if it's upside down because it's in the southern sky. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. The Hunter. So there's a 9 there together, 2 and 7. So that's the Chariot and the High Priestess. This idea of the hunter only takes what he needs. He's in one with nature and grateful for what he has. So let me just skim the book and see what else I can find. Ow. A complex system of wires and pulleys over here. So in the other... Of course the book is in the other box. Why would it not be? Underneath friggin' everything else. Alright. Alright, let me take a look at these real quick. Ow! Start with the moon. Where is that? 37. Oh, okay. Okay, so it has to do with cycles of light and darkness, in that, you know, the last age of Libra might have been one that was dark, but the one that's coming up is going to be lighter. This is the idea of dark and light, day and night, in order to propel movement, to incite change. And this idea of affecting the water. It's affecting the water because with that it's moving our consciousness. So here the owl is one that's bringing you insight through the dark phase. Okay, so the little bit of restarting this idea of intuition and emotion in the last age of Libra has to do with it popping up again in the next age of Libra. How is that card? Where's my Seeker of Chalices? Here she is. She's coming back in the same position of coming out of the dark moon, the dark phase, the dark transit position of Libra, with a little bit of guidance that's still seeping through. So let's go to the beauty way. When everyone else perceives only darkness, you point out the light and help uncover the hidden treasures. So this is like saying, well, the owl told me that there's still something good to be had. You know, like, we might be dying, but I'm damned if I'm not gonna still draw the most beautiful thing on the cave walls that I can. You know, life still goes on. Nobody all died or something. That kind of energy. You know. I know that I feel like I'm dying in this darkness, but when I move through it and gain clarity, when I gain clarity of understanding, that beauty will pop right out, and I'll feel it more than having to work for it in this challenge position. Ow. Oh, my rib cage. Okay, taming the wind. 55. Ow. Okay. So this has to do with the idea of a feather, and of clearing negativity away. So here we're traveling through a dark phase. We know it's a cycle. We're still getting some light messages in the darkness. We're seeing beauty in the darkness. And now we're clearing the darkness. We're consciously bringing the spiritual into the material, infusing the world with reverence and acknowledgement of the higher planes of existence. So that would have been an idea that would have been lost out of the last age of Libra, causing the imbalance, and that's what's being gained back here. We're getting the spiritual back. Where's that shadow card? Here we go. We're getting that spiritual back on Earth. Alright, so the hummingbird and the serpent. Journeys. Quest. Okay. So in this position, the hummingbird is indicating to move when the moment is right, not when you feel you're safest, to trust your intuition and to be free enough in your standing to listen to the voice that calls you to your next, to where you're being called to. Listen to your inner self and trust it. To have that 8 strength in your own self, and not to listen to that nagging voice in your head that tells you can't do it. 46. Okay, so this is about shedding the past gracefully. So it's saying, don't be afraid to go out there into the next leg of your journey. Don't, shed your skin. Don't hang on to the past age and think that everything's going to go wrong if you take a step out. It's like healing and renewal. but you've got to believe in it. Don't be this is like being seduced by your ego telling you can't do it. So in this, it's these challenges of coming through the darkness will, if basically if performed correctly, will turn all these cards upright and give you that oomph to move. And here we have a 10 and an 8 together. That's the moon again. That's 18. That's this idea of this is what's in the darkness, is the get up and go, to trust yourself again. So we have thunder. Oh my god, my body hurts in this position. Crushing my esophagus. Okay. So it's a wake-up call, and I think the imagery and it says in here about getting your attention for change and drama has to do with that initial shock that happened in the last age, which would, that carbon explosion out of the ocean or whatever it was, if it wasn't that. So this is a continuation of the Serpent card. This is saying, get moving, trust your intuition, don't listen to the voices in your head that are trying to seduce you into complacency. And this one is saying, cut out all the drama, even if it's coming from you. You want to look towards solutions and not focus on problems from the past. Okay, so if the general idea of Libra is weighing things out continuously, is like this, or look at this, or maybe this guy, look at him, by the time you make a decision, the time is long gone, and you spent the whole time listening to other people's bullshit and your own internal dialogue. So it's this idea of... where did I put those cards again? We're weighing this option, but we're using them together to make choices. Because 6, the Lovers, is also the choice. So we're using this side of our brain, we're using that side of our brain, we're making a choice, and we're choosing to answer this call of thunder for change, to complete a cycle and have a new beginning, which is, and this 11 is also this sort of divine number of like listening to your highest calling. So it's completion, new beginning. Don't sit there and spend all your time weighing the options, thinking about the past, ignoring the light that's coming out of the darkness. You do this work to clear the solar plexus, to go ahead balanced in the male and female energies, so that as a Libra in the next age, you'll be able to make quick decisions, but ones that are fully balanced when you hear some kind of intense, drastic call for movement. Okay, so that is the age of Libra in terms of the precessional clock, and you can take that down into the day-to-day level as needed. And we'll... Oh, I was gonna sign out, but we got shameless self-promotion time here. Can I get that to focus about the whole thing? Maybe. Here we go. Alright. So, you can reach me at thecatcameback on Twitter. You can order a reading. You can email me, thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com. You can order a reading through PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. Those are all CATtheMinion. You can find my art like this stuff over at facebook.com/tkenyonart or cafepress.com/CATtheMinion. I don't have it on this sheet, but for the last week or the last few days, I redid my entire Deviant art. That's also CATtheMinion, deviantart.com/CATtheMinion. If you want to find out what kind of tarot readings I have available, I will be putting a link in the description box of this video to my infomercial video. I think it's over an hour long, might be like an hour and a half. It outlines the different readings that I have, and then in the description box of the infomercial video is the big long schmeal that has the readings listed. It has these contacts again. It has which readings I have, what they're called exactly, what the price is, and then as you get further down in the list, there's links to some art stuff. I've got some coloring books. I've got the merch. I've got art prints on Deviant Art, and I've got a few videos for art tutorials. If you go into the tabs on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've arranged playlists. One of the playlists is Cat's Corner, and you can see the videos there for making little art things. I've got a template available for making a craft foam flower. I'll probably eventually have templates available for my stuffed animals, and I think that's about it. So if you enjoyed this reading, do please like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out the playlist for different kinds of videos that I have. You can order a reading, you can donate, even if it's just $1, I appreciate you. And again, subscription is probably the best gift besides cold hard cash. It's very limited commitment. You can just subscribe and leave me there, and if you get bored, you can check all the little scrolly thing that says which things have videos or not. I think that's it. It's really the end. It's the end of the end. It's the end. We're going through a blurry portal. Being transported to another world. Like my video, watch my readings, bye!